Cray? I don't think we talked about it much. You remember Bon Cray?
I think Bon Cray is the one who's like the swan guy, the one who has like
Yeah.
the face changing powers. I thought it was cute that at the end Bon Cray was like, "You guys are my best friends. I love you guys." Because I'm like, that's a delusional girly right there. He's not actually a bad guy. He's just very delusional and has attachment issues and whatever third buzzword you want to shove in there. I think Bon Cray is going to come back. Bon Cray has a uniqueness to him that I think really popped off in that era. So I'm excited to see Bon Cray come back, because Bon Cray is going to come back with some wild stuff going on. That's all I know. He got captured by the Marines, right?
He did.
Yeah, they're
going to come back.
Oh my gosh, the team at the end of Skypiea are surrounded by the Marines. What if they run into Bon Cray there? What if they're like, "Oh, Bon Cray's in jail. We're in jail. Bon Cray, it's time to break out of jail now." That'd be crazy.
That would be crazy. That'd be ridiculous. I don't know. So you like Bon Cray? Think he's coming back?
Yeah, I didn't like him at first, but he grew on me very, very well by the end of it. I was like, Bon Cray, actually, I like you. This is good.
Well, fun guy.
Yeah.
Fun guy. You guys are my best friends, and he sasacrifices himself.
Yeah, right? Immediately. I'm like, I don't think they know you, but okay.
You're the enemy.
Yeah. Exactly.
And then, yes. Did you see Usopp's fight against Miss Merry Christmas? I don't think there was a timestamp on that one. Was there?
Miss Merry Christmas is the one who's swinging the bat. No, Miss Merry Christmas is the mole lady, right?
I think so. Yeah, that's when Usopp was fighting Mole Lady.
Yeah, Mole Lady and the gun. The gun that ate the dog fruit. I liked that fight. I think I referenced it, how Usopp and Chopper had a team up, and I didn't understand that those two would be such a good dynamic duo, because they'd been hinting at it leading up to that point, of Chopper being the like bright-eyed kid who believed all of Usopp's stories, and Usopp telling all the stories on the ship. So they had like a fun little dynamic in the background. But then when they fought Miss Merry Christmas and Mr. 3, I think was his number, that's when it kind of like popped off, and I saw how intense they were. And I liked how, like, I normally don't like the gaggy kind of fight, but Usopp having that, like, it was like a 20-ton hammer, but it's like actually just 2 frying pans and a stick. But it's so shocking that everyone is like, "Oh my gosh, he knocked her out." And she's like, "I've been knocked out." And then she's like, "Wait a minute. No, I'm not. I'm fine." Like, that actually genuinely got a bit of a laugh out of me. I was like, okay, that was funny. That was worth it. Good job. You won that one.
I like that type of thing, but I only like it from Usopp because of his established character of being a liar and then also being somewhat weak. And so he's trying to work with what he's got.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that wouldn't work if it were Zoro, the same way that Usopp suddenly locking in and becoming super powerful and lifting a boulder wouldn't work. Like, his gag kind of fighting works with him because it is an expression of his character. And we kind of like referenced it in the last episode or two of like, power systems are just meant to be expressions of the narrative. So Usopp having a gag fighting style is an expression of him, and I love that. It's a great use of it.
It's pretty great.
Yeah.
Okay, those were the 2 questions that I saw. I didn't see any others. Biscuit, if you have more that specifically you want me to ask Deonte, that'll work. I didn't actually know if you were asking me or Deonte on those, but I assume Deonte.
Fair.
And then we have some comments as well. Some comments from him that I picked. There's a lot of comments, of course.
Shut up, Biscuit.
But these ones I particularly picked for you. He said in the latest one that one of his favorite things that we never see animated is whenever a new crewmate joins the crew, Usopp canonically will bring them up to speed on all of the adventures they have had up to this point by telling them the most exaggerated form of the story.
What? Why don't we have that animated? That is so good. Oh my gosh, that's so good. Oh, because Usopp would do that. He would make up the... That is so good. We need that. Why isn't that animated?
Right, 100%. We can only hope it shows up in The One Piece, the new anime that's going to be coming out next year.
That is so... Oh my gosh, I hope they do that, actually.
I'm so excited for that. Okay, contain yourself.
Yes. Yeah.
I also got my girlfriend and a couple of other friends to agree that they're going to watch the new one.
Ooh.
So I got them on board.
Wow.
Boom.
You're going to have episodes for days, my guy. People are just going to keep hopping on the One Piece train or boat. Ship.
That's what this new one's going to do. Anyways, the other one is Robin is 28.
28?
Yeah, Robin is 28.
Okay. That's fine with me. I like
canonically.
That. I believe in that.
So that makes sense why she's so like, children.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, she's like entering cool auntie age. That makes perfect sense. That explains the difference.
That is. Yeah. And then as a rule, when referring to devil fruits, clothes do what the devil fruit user does. Oda did not want to worry about that. So there was a question you had. Yeah. I think it was about
Smoker Ace. And Ace. Like, do their clothes light on fire?
What happens? Yeah. So they'll do what their devil fruit does.
That's cool. Okay, so
which also makes sense. Not wanting to worry about that.
Yeah, I think that's the most reasonable reason of like I just don't want to worry about like if Ace lights on fire, is he now naked and how do I draw around that? Blah blah blah. But I was thinking about this in Skypiea too of like Luffy's got like one outfit. He's not like Nami who's like switching up hairstyles and clothes and stuff. He's got one outfit and that man is constantly getting beat up. What's going on with that? Who's the tailor on the ship? But I guess part of it is just, it's an anime, it is what it is. But if you can like headcanon a bit of like, the clothes are elastic, so they're very stretchy and malleable because he wears them. It's like, all right, cool. I can get behind that. It's cool.
Yeah, I can too. It's one of those not put a lot of thought into the magic system things, but it still makes enough sense where you're like, it's magic.
Yeah.
Yeah, the clothes change too.
Yeah, it happens in like Naruto. Someone gets hit by a fireball and their clothes are not on fire. It has like scratch marks, but they're bleeding and cut up. And you're like, how do clothes have more durability than your body? But we're just going to run with it. It's okay. As long as you look cool, we're fine.
Yeah, it's fine. It's magic. It hit their chakra.
Yeah. It's all chakra. Don't worry. The chakra effect.
And then this was, I think, in reference to Ace's log pose. He was saying that the log pose is just the way to navigate the Grand Line. Owning one doesn't automatically mean you're after the One Piece. So I guess I didn't re-listen on all of that. I think we were referring to he might be after the One Piece, but he's just navigating, going around, doing his stuff.
Interesting. I've assumed the log pose is just the intrinsic One Piece connection point, because like when the goat guy unveils that he has a log pose, when all these different people are wearing log poses, that I guess that makes sense then. It's not that everyone's after the One Piece, but more of like, I have to survive out here, so I need my GPS.
Yeah, and without it, you die.
Yeah, that.
Well, I guess that's all of it. Thanks so much, Biscuit, for staying with us, commenting, and being our number one fan. We appreciate it, and it really gives us motivation to continue doing this. Someone's listening.
One of us pretending to be a commenter to encourage the other is actually a whole other person.
What do you mean? It's not something I said might be the case.
No, definitely not a theory you came up with.
Specifically for you, Biscuit. When you first showed up, I was like, I don't know. Is this Deonte trying to make me feel better about starting a podcast?
Which I responded to him, yeah, that sounds like my level of manipulation, and I would do that, but I just didn't think about it. So, no.
So we do genuinely appreciate you coming along for the ride.
Yeah.
With that, we're going to dive into it, jump in, and get to the thing that you wanted to do, which the instructions I have been given is to read a synopsis of Skypiea, so I will go forward with that.
Yes, read it.
The Skypiea arc follows the Straw Hats after they discover that a mysterious island exists in the sky. Using the knock-up stream, they launch the Going Merry thousands of feet upward and arrive in the White Sea. For the record, there's 4 paragraphs. Is that chill?
Yes, you can read 4 paragraphs worth of this thing that was like 80 episodes.
Cool. There, they get caught in a conflict between the native Shandians and the people of Skypiea. The Shandians have spent generations fighting to reclaim their ancestral homeland, Upper Yard, which was actually part of the island Jaya that was blasted into the sky 400 years ago. Skypiea is ruled by Enel, or Eneru, depending on if you watch the dub or the sub, and self-proclaimed god with lightning powers from the Goro Goro no Mi, an extremely powerful and extremely powerful observation hockey called Mantra. There, Enel plans to destroy Skypiea and travel to the moon aboard his flying ship, the Ark Maxim. The Straw Hats, the Shandians, and Enel's forces clash across Upper Yard. Robin discovers the ruins of the ancient city of Shandora and finds a poneglyph mentioning the ancient weapon Poseidon. Eventually, Luffy confronts Enel. Because Luffy is made of rubber, Enel's electricity cannot hurt him, making Luffy essentially Enel's natural counter. Luffy defeats Enel and rings Shandora's enormous golden bell. The bell proves to Cricket and the people below that the legendary city of gold really exists, while also fulfilling a 400-year-old promise between the explorer Mont Blanc Noland and the Shandian warrior Kalgara. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Heard about all that get blown upstream, and Robin encourages Nami to be the navigator, and Nami takes the wheel and moves them up the stream and gets them up there into the Sky Island. Nami goes on her own little side adventure with the little sky scooter thing and is just a great navigator and drives it no problem. No one else seems to be able to master it. Everything goes per usual. The team is all over the place as they usually do, separating and splitting up and getting back together. But here's the difference. When Nami is on the boat, the giant ship that Eminem owns and is flying off, and Usopp and Sanji get onto the ship to try to rescue her, I suggest two changes. One, Usopp never made the Usopp device, because there was no reason to. He was out in the sea. Why would he have a belt that is a grappling hook? Is it cool? Sure. Where would he get that idea from, though? I suggest he makes a different suit. He makes a rubber man suit, because Usopp is a liar, and as the stories of the rubber man are spreading, he makes a suit of all rubber. He can claim to be the rubber man who knocked out Crocodile, who has saved Arabasta, who has done 80,000 things that Luffy has done. Usopp makes a suit of all rubber to become a liar. 2. Nami finally has enough, sees the ship made of gold, sees that Eminem is going to try to destroy the world, and she comes to the realization that as her friends have all died, according to her best knowledge, because she thinks everyone died in front of her, and she has chickened out to survive, she finally stands up and says there are some things worth more than gold. And she, with her device that Usopp made for her when she said we're not like those people, picks up this stick that controls the weather like lightning and goes to confront the man. And here's my thought. 1, Sanji never comes up there. So I guess that's a third change. Sanji never comes up there. Usopp the mechanic is running through the ship, dismantling it from the inside out. Nami is using the staff to fight against what she thinks is a literal god, blocking and deflecting his lightning like she does in the one move. Usopp finally comes out, and Usopp now has to become the rubber man and block lightning with his body. The most brave act he can do of directly jumping in danger as God is trying to smite Nami. And Nami has to confront and not run away from, but attack God. The last arc, she couldn't even attack these people who were stronger than her. That was her big overcoming moment because her and Usopp agreed we're not like them. This becomes a story where God is taken down by Nami and Usopp because God's two big weaknesses are, one, he does not value the connections of other people, so he did not make the ship himself. So when the ship starts breaking apart because Usopp broke it apart, he doesn't know how to fix it. And two, he thinks himself so above these others that he toys around and plays with them so long that the ship finally breaks down and he has waited too long. Nami and Usopp get the victory. They beat God not by becoming stronger, but by Usopp overcoming his fears and being courageous, and Nami trusting in her teammates and relationships over the wealth and gold. They are the ones who overcome God, and they bring the ship down and crash it into the bell to keep it from destroying Sky Island, ringing the bell, saving the people, sacrificing the gold, so Nami is truly choosing connections over money, and Usopp has been brave in this moment. I think that is how Skypiea should have gone. What are your thoughts?
Couple of thoughts. I like it. It's a very good story.
Thank you.
The story change there. And two thoughts though. What is Usopp and Sanji doing, or not Usopp? What is Luffy and Sanji doing then? Like, just there.
Whatever they want. I don't know. I don't really care about Luffy. Sanji is the one who got Usopp up onto the ship, though. That is my contribution to my thinking of Usopp tries to spring himself forward as Rubber Man, and Sanji, power god, kicks him off into the ship to go get Nami. Because Sanji is like, go get my girl. You can't propel me up into the ship. You're not strong enough. I'm strong enough to kick you up into the ship, and you're made of rubber right now because you have your rubber suit on. So you'll be fine. He was already planning to sacrifice Usopp from the beginning. So that, in my mind, makes enough sense.
Fair enough. And then the second thought is, I like it, and it's very good, but with the grand view of One Piece that I have, it's too early for their character development to advance that far.
That's actually a very good counterpoint, because I don't know where this is all going. But that was my thought the whole time watching it, of like, this is such a prime moment of literally the last arc was Nami and Usopp both having to step up and be more brave and be more willing to fight things that aren't human. And so the ultimate consequence there is God contracted people to build a ship made of gold. That's God, the thing that those two said they couldn't fight, who had others do a job, Usopp's job, made of gold, Nami's favorite thing. I was like, this is, like, the thing is sitting here right in front of my face. It's too obvious.
It's very good. I think that that's a good, conclusive story, but my thought is that we still have 900 episodes to go, and what would we do if their core character flaws were revealed to have been conquered now?
Yeah, I guess that's fair. And I guess that's also part of it too, of like, I saw it so clear as day, but I don't, like, I know there's 1,000 episodes of One Piece, and like the author was like, we're halfway through. So I know there's got to be a lot more there, but I guess I also just kind of assumed there will be more for them to overcome, or grander than that. Even if they overcome it now, that doesn't mean that they've solidified it. Like, Usopp has shown steps of bravery every arc. And so maybe I wanted too much, but it just seemed so perfectly set up.
It is perfectly set up there. But that is my genuine thought on why that might not work in One Piece, would only be because it really is a gradual process that you see them change. Like the look and the feeling of Usopp current One Piece as opposed to now is wildly different. Like, he feels entirely different, but there was never a jump. There was never a moment where you're like, yay, he's brave. It's like minor steps. It's like he got braver. He did this one thing. He's overcoming it, which I personally feel is a very realistic take on character change and growth, because there's never a moment where you have a core flaw in yourself. You're like, I am a coward. And you're just like, but today I'm not.
Yeah.
And now I never struggled with it again.
Great. So in this alternative, I don't think that means they're no longer cowards and greedy. I think what it is I don't know what the future of One Piece is going to be, obviously, but it's kind of like in D&D, because we play D&D. It's kind of like there's this character arc your character is supposed to have, but they accidentally stumble into it like 5 levels too early, and so you're like, they weren't supposed to resolve this yet, but it's like right here. So I have to skip it, even though it's like so perfectly set up for me. I have to either skip it or rush my growth all of a sudden in this one moment of rolling a d20 or whatever. And it kind of feels like that, of like this moment of Eminem, the lightning god, flying a ship of gold. I'm like, you couldn't get a better villain for Nami and Usopp to tag team. I couldn't imagine a better one right now with knowing their current character flaws. So, like Usopp wanting to be a god killer, Usopp wanting to be brave, Nami, da-da-da. So I think you're right. It's probably way too early considering this. Like, what are they going to do for the next 900 episodes? But in my mind, I'm like, then this needed to happen like 600 episodes from now. Like, this didn't need to happen now. But I don't know the story, so I don't know the rest. But yeah, that was just my thought.
That's fair. That's fair. I like that. I like that change, but it does feel concise. And while it wouldn't necessarily mean that they wouldn't struggle with their character flaws anymore, it does signal to an audience that like they have overcome it, Yeah,
Usopp shooting a guy with a bullet and running away is one thing. Usopp jumping in front of God smiting Nami with lightning is another. Especially if he's doing it consistently to continue to be the shield. That is a whole step that you're right. That would kind of be like, we're resolving a level of fear and cowardice he's never allowed to go back to without it being bad writing.
So that's my thoughts on it, but I like it. I like those takes. I'm
curious about one thing.
Yes.
I'm just gonna be I'm actually in charge tonight. You told me that even though Arabasta is the arc that everyone is like, this is when One Piece really got good, you told me Skypiea is the one that had something special for you. What? Why?
Well, see, for me, the thing is that I can't really define it, but I'm judging it based off of my behavior thus far in rewatching One Piece with you, that the earlier episodes and like Arabasta, I didn't get as far. I still haven't finished all of it, and that's just time, but I made much more consistent progress through Skypiea because I was interested in what was gonna happen. Like, I wanted to continue. I just was enjoying the story, and I've also noticed it with Maddie as well, that like she's more interested in the story and getting a little bit more engaged in Skypiea. And I don't know particularly what it is, whether it's the pacing or setting, like the have you ever heard of like the mystery box? I think it's what's that one director did Star Trek and some other things. There's one director who I'm blanking on his name, but kind of popularized it, of the mystery box, where you put forward a mystery for the audience to get engaged with and have that question, and you unveil that, and then there's another mystery, and you keep going with the mystery box until you get to the end of your story. It felt like there was more of that in Skypiea, where it was like, okay, I'm curious now what's going to happen with X, Y, and Z, like, because I don't remember all of it. So like Nami going to Upper Yard, is that when she gets captured? I don't remember what's going to happen with Nami here at Upper Yard. And then like going along with it, it just felt like it dragged me through the story better J.J. Abrams, that's right.
I felt the opposite, actually. I felt like
Really?
the story was like, this needed to wrap up like 30 episodes ago. But I think what it is for me, there were just these two elements of the story that I did not like. But funny enough, and I think you have the text to prove it, this is the first time in One Piece that I had watched up to where we needed to be, and then I just kept watching.
Yeah.
Normally, I watch to where we need to be, and then I stop there. This is the first time in One Piece where I watched where I needed us to be, and then I just kept watching all the way to the end. So
yeah, and
there was something
talking about.
But, yeah, I agree with you. There's something there, but I think, okay, Skypiea arc. Do you want me to list the things I liked or the things I disliked first? Which one would you rather we dive into?
Let's go with dislikes first.
Okay. This story is white. The story is white as hell. This is a really white story. This is a story of, these native people had their land shot up into the air, and then the blonde cloud people took their land from them, and the native savages have been trying to fight horribly, savagely against the law-abiding cloud people to get their land back. And then at the very end, the natives are like, you, old white man, you should be ruling us. We all agree you should rule us, even though we were trying to kill you a day ago. You deserve our land and our gold and our allegiance because you're special. This story is so white. That's what got me to dislike it. By the end, I was mad that Luffy was involved at all because he did not need to be involved. And everyone was like, Luffy, ring the bell for us. And I'm like, why? Why is Luffy the guy that you guys are like, yeah, our oppressed people, literally oppressed people, are now putting our hopes on this rubber man who most of us have never even actually seen within 20 feet of us? But we're all like, Luffy, you ring that bell. We believe in you to do it for us. And then he leaves. And even the elder of the native people look to Godfell and are like, you deserve to lead all of us. What? What are you talking about? It literally made me so mad. I got up and was pacing around, and I think I texted you about it. And I was like, this story is bad. I can't.
I think you texted me about something else. I don't remember that exact one. Hold on. I'll check.
I know I texted you that I was like, I need to talk about this show.
I don't think you texted me about that because that would have been us kind of talking about it, outside.
I did text you a video
you said I'm having a verbal, visceral response to Skypiea.
Yeah, that was it. That was it right there. That was me literally standing up, yelling at the TV of like, what are you talking about? Everyone is standing around the guy who, granted, keep in mind who Godfell is. He is the descendant of the guy when the island was shot up into the air, and the natives are like, oh, the air is so thin up here, we can't adjust. And then the cloud people came over and immediately enslaved and oppressed them and kicked them off their land. I guess not enslaved. I don't think they enslaved them for long term. They just kicked them off their land.
Get out of here.
Yeah, they were just like, get out. So then they do that, and then they just keep passing down the title of God, and then Godfell is like in charge for a while, and he's like, oh, maybe we should give the land back to the natives, and he never does it. He's supposed to be considered the good guy because he thought that maybe we should give the land back to the people we stole it from, but never does it. And that is enough to qualify him as like a good guy, and then he fights people who are trying to kill him who coincidentally also happen to be willing to kill the natives. And so everyone's like, you're the true leader. No, that's bad. He's bad. This is bad. This is a bad time. These are not realistic people. This is a bad story. So there was that. And then the other thing was Luffy. I actually truly believe Luffy had no purpose in this story. And the moment I felt it more than anything was when Luffy hops on the boat. Luffy's running to Eminem's ship. by the way. And I'm like, does Luffy know who this is? Does Luffy know what's going on? I don't think Luffy really understands what's going on. Luffy's just kind of... Luffy has been divinely inspired to go be a Deus Ex Machina somewhere, so he is on his way there. He gets on the ship. Eminem blasts him with lightning. And it's like, oh, it missed. That's okay. I'll do it again. And then he shoots him again. And then it's like, oh, I missed. I'll get closer. And then he comes right up to Luffy and puts his hand in his face, disrespectful, and then blasts him with lightning at point blank range. And Nami's like, I should have known this. He's a rubber man. Electricity won't work on him. And I was like, I need Luffy to get off this island. I actually need him. I need him to jump from the ship and never come back.
I loved that moment.
I bet you
it's
did.
So funny.
I bet you did love that moment. The worst part, I think I recorded it and sent it to you because the moment the first lightning strike missed, I knew right away. It clicked in my head of like, he's a rubber man. They keep calling him a rubber man. That's lightning, and they're gonna go with lightning. Bounces off rubber. Rubber doesn't conduct electricity. And so I'm literally realizing it like a few seconds before it's being explained, and I'm like, I should have seen this coming from the start when lightning was first being struck down. But they didn't strike him. The first time lightning almost struck him, Godfell saved him. So Luffy would have been fine, and we would have found out right then. But Godfell was too fast.
Yeah. Why don't you like that moment? Because it makes him feel like he's useless. I think it's funny and fun because obviously NL has a huge ego trip and has really drank his own Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
And so like the idea of Luffy's presence itself being like the world's bigger than you think.
Yeah, you didn't even know what rubber was.
The baddest guy around just by Luffy standing there. I liked that personally.
yeah. I think let me say this. I think the moment in itself in isolation is like what you're saying of this guy who thinks that he is God didn't even know what rubber was. He did not even know what rubber was, and he's trying to be like, I'm going to go to the place that has eternal birth, and there will be so much, and I'll rule it all. Man is going to get shot in the face. and I do agree with you. I think that is a really good moment, and I think, and this is a theory, but I think this moment is actually a really good representation of why people probably really love Luffy without realizing it. It's not that Luffy himself is a good character or anything. It's that Luffy continues to happen to be the thing that is causing these prideful, arrogant rulers who very clearly represent and map onto our everyday issues as their like fall, as their hubris. You know what I mean? Like Luffy punches Crocodile and is the first person to land the hit. It's not that you love Luffy, it's that you hate Crocodile and Luffy punches him. And it's like, my hand's covered in water. I can have an infinite amount of water in me because I'm a rubber man. I can expand. So it's not that Luffy did anything special. It's that Luffy happens to have the skill set that make Crocodile get fucked. And I think it's the same way of like Eminem. He shoots Luffy and it's like, oh, it's rubber. It's not that Luffy is particularly special or anything like that. It's that Luffy happens to be the thing that brings Eminem to his knees. And everyone wanted Eminem to fall to his knees, and Luffy happens to be that. I do think some people like Luffy for who he is, obviously. But I think Luffy continues to be the thing. And I don't know if that's because the author is writing these villains with the caveat in mind of I need them to have a weakness that Luffy will be able to exploit. Because I assume that's what's happening. You know what I mean? Like,
I think I agree with you somewhat, with a small caveat. I agree with you that it's not so much Luffy's character in and of himself that makes him like endearing. It's, well, I mean, there is some endearment in his aloofness, but like more so that he is the foil and the natural disaster that brings justice to these tyrannical people.
yeah.
So my one caveat is that I think when you look at characters throughout all of fiction, there isn't a lot to Luffy necessarily, but there is particular traits that make him special in this particular world. And that part does kind of set him apart and is endearing about him, like the fact that he is aloof and whimsical and along for an adventure while everyone else is taking everything so seriously. Like he is the idiot who will run at a god full of lightning when most other people wouldn't, because they're like, well, he's really powerful and shoots a whole bunch of lightning, and Luffy didn't know he was immune. he would have done the same thing whether it was fire or lava or whatever the heck was in front of him. He would have ran at that thing full speed. And it works out for him, which you could say, if you have a particular disposition that type of thing shouldn't work out for those characters, that would make it not very satisfying. But I think that what is endearing about him is that he brings a idea of don't give up on your inner child and your whimsy and your dreams of the world. It might work out for you. Keep going, and maybe it won't for us in the real world. I can't just, run at my problems and punch them, unfortunately, but I wish I could. And Luffy makes me feel like I shouldn't give up on my whimsy and looking at the world like it's fun and stuff. I don't want to think about all the too serious stuff all the time. Sometimes I want to be in a pretty place and jump on clouds,
Who says punches them in the face and then the country gets free healthcare. If someone says no water for you, Luffy punches them in the face and then everyone gets water. That is the fantasy that so many people have in so many countries across the world of, I don't know the complex political structures that need to be understood and all the right words to figure out how we need to reestablish the constructs and figure out X, Y, and Z. A lot of people don't have time to study those things and learn those things and figure those things out. And even those who do have the time to study those things and learn those things and figure those things out just get frustrated because the better you know it, the more you're like, oh, this is just fucked from the inside out. So everyone has this fantasy of like, the system is too big. Who do I punch in the face to make it fix? What button do I hit and whose nose is that button with my fist? And Luffy gets to do that. And everyone wants to be that. And I think that is so valid and fair of like, Luffy, I've been calling him like, he is a deus ex machina. He is, and I love your description of it of like, he is a natural disaster. But I think what he really is he is a walking catharsis that needs to be unleashed every now and then. And we tolerate, at least for me, I tolerate him as a person in between him being walking catharsis. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I do see what you mean, and I think that's I like that, and I might even go so far as to draw a parallel to Greek heroes, if I may be so bold, that they are a level above us in a certain sense, but it's like the modern Greek hero who's gonna go punch capitalism in the face, or
the new Cyclops, in the face. yeah, the new Cyclops, the new giant, the new god. Yeah, I think that's valid. And I think the part that frustrates me about Luffy is like, Luffy just happens to be, the narrative treats him like he is always going to be right. He's always going to get away with it, which, he's the main character, whatever. But there is this element, at least for me in my life and my experience, where I look and I'm like, there are some people, a lot of people who can't afford to be whimsical, who if they were to try to be whimsical, get killed, get shot, get jailed, get everything taken away from them. And so Luffy never has to learn to contain or release his whimsy. And I think the story wants that. The story wants this character who never has to contain their whimsy. But for me, I think I get the opposite effect of like what you or probably other feel of, instead of looking at Luffy and being like, man, he's so whimsical, I wish I could be like that. I look at him and I'm like, the world constantly works out for him and he has never had to learn. He's not whimsical in spite of the world. He's whimsical because he's never had to face the reality of the world. And I think I would like him more if he were walking towards Eminem blasts him with lightning, and Luffy just gets wrecked. Like it would be more impressive to me if his whimsy were rubber and not his body. Because if he's just always able to punch the problem and get away with it and be fine and never get hurt, he wasn't whimsical in spite of anything. He was whimsical because he's never had to not be. He's never had to shrink himself down or figure out those elements. And oh my gosh, going all the way back to the time when they were on the island with the two giants, the one time Luffy gets put under a rock and can't get himself out and he freaks out like crazy, like he starts headbutting the ground, he's scratching and screaming. I think that moment was so impactful to me, and that was the moment that I started liking Luffy, because in my mind I was like, this is the first time Luffy didn't just immediately get his way. It's the first time someone actually said, Luffy, you need to sit down, and sat him down. And he was like, what the fuck is this? What do you mean I can't just do what I want? And watching that dynamic was so interesting to me. And I remember at that time, I was like, my brain was exploding with ideas of what would happen with Luffy, of like, what happens if he can't protect his friends? He is like turning into a savage animal that's gnawing at himself. I feel like Luffy would cut himself in half to get out of the rock to go do what he wants to do. What happens if something happens to his friends and he can't protect them? He can't avenge them, right? He can't blah, blah, blah. What happens if a friend dies? No one dies in this show ever, except the people Robin kills. Yeah. Robin is snapping necks. Robin is killing people. Everyone else is fine. We're going to come back to that.
She's 28. She's
28. She's killing people. The kids are having fun and fighting. Robin's murdering. But back to the other thing. That was so interesting to me because I was like, man, there's a complexity here of like Luffy's been on the other side of the Grand Line, so he's never had to worry about real danger. Now real danger is happening. What's he going to be like? And I realized that was the last moment I thought positively of Luffy when it comes to complexity. Because Luffy runs into this cave where the ship is, where Eminem's ship is, and Nami is like, Luffy's here. And in my head, I was like, Nami, why are you excited Luffy's here? He's going to make things, like, he'll win, but, like, everything is always worse when he's here. And then I thought about it, and I'm like, wait, like, a year ago, I was so hyped when Luffy showed up for Nami and put his hat on her head and was like, hold this for me. And then he went and punched the shark guy, and I'm like, why am I having such a different response to Luffy now? Like, but like up to that Giants Island and before, I joked that I was like anti-Luffy, but I was actually like hyped on Luffy and Sanji and Zoro and all these characters. And ever since then, ever since like the Arabasta stuff and just seeing Luffy not learn, I've been like so anti-Luffy because I'm like, he doesn't deserve the hype or the praise yet from me, because I'm like, you haven't had to ever earn it. You've never earned it. You've just been granted it by the story. So it was a weird moment of like, Nami, why are you excited? Oh, wait, why aren't I excited? I would have been excited for this like a year ago or however long ago it was. All that to say, those are my thoughts on that. Those are the things I didn't like.
Well, we do have a previous engagement, so it seems like Skypiea is going to have to be split into two parts, because there is still a lot that I want to get into, including prophecy,
Poseidon,
cricket, Nolan, Poseidon, the poneglyphs, all of that stuff. We still have to get into that. And also, I'm saying this as a way to hopefully help keep us on track for the next episode.
Yeah.
That I also really want to dive into. This is I feel the first episode that starts to touch on more of the larger aspects that One Piece does. I mean, we had like a revolution in the last one, in the last arc, but that still didn't feel like, oh, you know, we have natives who are being oppressed.
Yeah.
Type of thing. And so I really want to get into like the political implications and all of that.
The show's political?
No, not at all. It's a rubber man who punches people. I wouldn't.
Political at all. It's fine. Sorry, go on.
So I want to dive into that next time. But this was a good one. I liked your thoughts, and I liked that we had a big deep dive on Luffy and final wrapping thoughts on that. Please don't let that dissuade you, because without spoiling, he does come up against challenges and things, and I'm not going to give you it. It might be a little while, but like I said, the same thing with Usopp is that the character growth comes in steps, and these characters aren't going to learn one lesson and then change entirely. It's going to be one little step in the right direction, like every arc or twice an arc or something like that. It's going to be one little glimmer of hope, and you'll see it compound on itself.
The author for that. But also, we do need to do another of these episodes on Skypiea, because I can't just be like, here's the negative stuff. I actually liked a lot of things in Skypiea. I know you wouldn't believe it. So we gotta come back for that. So we will come back to that.
Cool. And thanks for watching, everyone. And if you've got anything specific that you want Deonte to answer about his experience, you better get it in before we get to those arcs, because you don't know when we're gonna get there. So, and no spoilers.
Yeah.
Well, he won't read the comments, but I won't spoil it for him.
There we go.
If you see him, don't spoil it for him.
Yeah, you can spoil in the comments, not in my face.
Yeah. Oh, so again, sorry. I know. Side note, again, I almost saw spoilers for Freerun. Because I was scrolling on TikTok and I saw it come up and I was like, no!
Oh my gosh, yeah, no. We're going to have to record Freerun soon so you can be free to watch all the fun TikToks and amazing edits and whatnot. So we'll have to fit that in.
Yeah, we'll be taking a little break at some point to fit in some other stuff.
Yeah.
Anyways, thanks for watching. Bye.
Bye.